What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. And first of all, I like to excuse myself for looking crusty and dusty, but it's okay because we're gonna be coloring this wig, and I have no clue what I'm doing in this video. I'm just showcasing it. So she is 20 inches long, 6'13", and look how flowy and soft she is. Oh my god. And she is a 13x4 frontal. She is HD transparent lace and 180 density. So she is a nice medium density, not too thick, not too thin, but like perfect. And yeah, so first things first, I'm gonna go in and clarify her, and this is right after the clarifying treatment. You can see right here. So it is a little fuzzy, but that's because we removed all the silicone that is put on there when the hair is shipped out. And yeah, so once you remove all that, you get to see what the cuticle shape is in. She's really soft, but we need to trim those ends. So first things first, I go in and I create a face frame. So this is the guide for my face frame. And then I go in and angle it down and give a real nice sharp line, nice and sharp and crisp. But at the same time, I don't want it to look like a slope, like it's a mullet. We don't want a mullet. So this is how I'm doing it. I'm going to show you guys how I cut it. So first things first, I go down, I find my guide, and straight down. You want to go straight down to that guide right there. There's my guide right there. And there, yeah, we see it, girl. We see the guide. Thank you for showing it. Now, come on. You're moving too slow. I swear, me trying to show a tutorial, I swear, I just take my time. So we're going to comb all that hair back, and I'm going to comb down about an inch. I want to pull an inch of hair down, go all the way down to the guideline, and then I'm going to angle it parallel to the center of the face. And then I'm going to snip. Anytime now. Snip, 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 snip. Get all that hair off. And we got more snipping to do. Okay. Now we're going to release, and boom, a nice perfect angle to your face frame. Look how gorgeous. So now I'm going to go through and do the same thing with another inch section. So take 1 inch, comb straight down. Eventually. All right, here we go. Comb straight down to that guide, and then I'm going to pull parallel to the center of the face and snip that and get that all off, and boom. And then if you have any disconnection, any corners, go back through and clean that up. Make that line as sharp and crisp as you can, and just continue all the way down, all the way back to the head until you reach the bottom of the hair. You don't want to have a disconnection. You want hair to flow. You don't want to have a face frame in the front and then it doesn't taper off to the length. You want it to meet the length. So snip that off right there. And one thing is, you don't want to have a tight grip in between your fingers on the hair. You want some of the hair to kind of slide back as you over direct it. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So when you comb straight down, you're going to have a loose grip in between your fingers. Your grip's going to be tighter at your knuckle, but at the tip of your fingers, loosen that up so that way those back hairs, the hairs further away from the face, will kind of slide down. And that's what's going to give you that over direction and give a nice angle to the haircut. Because if you have too tight of a grip and you pull it forward, it's going to create a harsh, blunt line, and it's not going to be consistent with the angle that you already have, because you're going to cut at the stationary guide that you pulled your fingers down to instead of the over-directed guide that you're trying to create. So now I'm just going through and cleaning up any stray hairs and really make sure that angle is nice and sharp and cleaned up. And oh my god, look how flowy this hair is. It's so soft. It just moves and bounces. Boom, 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 boom. It's so pretty. So Anywho, now I'm going to go ahead and cut the layers. So I'm going to set my guide. So what I'm going to do is go through the center of the hair. And I'm going to tighten this up because, girl, she keep on moving. She keep on moving and falling. Oh, my God. Get right, girl. Get right. So I'm going to create this guideline right up here in the front and center of the head. And I'm pulling it straight up and out about 45 degrees. And I'm just going to snip off all of the split ends, doing a point cutting method, and I'm going to angle them all the way to the guide that I set for the face frame. So I'm going to get all that off right there, and I'm off center of the camera. You can't see how much hair I'm cutting off, but just know right there, it falls perfectly. So as you can see, we got all that off. Now it's nice and textured in the front of the face frame. So that face frame guide is crisp, but we want to soften that up. So these layers are going to soften it up so where it's not like a super harsh line and a super harsh blunt angle. So you're going to take half of the hair in the front. So if she had ears, you would pull all the hair up from the side in front of the ear, and then you're going to snip that off, and that's how much I'm cutting. And I'm just going to point cut. That's going to give a nice textured look. It's not going to create lines in the hair. And boom, there you go. So this is the back angle, so you can see how far back I went. Like I said, if she had ears, it'd be right in front of the ears. And now I'm taking the other half, and I am combing it straight up and connecting it to that guide, and still at that 45-degree angle in the front. And I just point cut all the hair that I'm taking off. All right there. All that hair is coming off. Bye-bye, split ends. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and layer the back. So I turn her around, and I section a middle section out from the back, and I comb it straight up. Make sure all the hairs are combed straight up from the track base. And I get that, and I over direct it to the center guideline that I created in the very front, and I just connect and trim, and I get off all the hair, all those split ends. Boom, 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 boom. So I point cut that, and I get all that off. And then release. And then I go through in like a pie method and lift it up and do the same thing all the way around. I just comb it straight up at a 45-degree angle from the top of the head all the way out and cut that. Same thing on the back sides. This would be all behind the ear. Comb that up. Connect to the guide. So I like to get all the split ends off of all my wigs because that just extends the lifespan of the wigs. If you have split ends on your hair when you receive it, the lifespan of your hair is cut down. Split ends just continue to split up, whereas when you got a nice blunt line, a nice crisp healthy line, it doesn't tend to split up as fast, and you'll just have to trim your wig so much sooner if you don't do this before shipping it out or when you first receive it. So yeah, not only that, this also gives a better shape and better style, so when you curl the hair, it has more of a flow. So yeah, so I like to put layers and trim it up and get it all shaped up before I ship them out. So I'm just going through, and if I see any long hairs, I'm just trimming those on up. So I just pull everything up, make sure everything is the length that I want. If it's not, then I'm going to cut a little more off. If I see any split ends, I'm going to just kind of trim those up a bit. I did trim a little bit off the length, not much, because I still wanted her to be 20 inches. She came 20 and a half inches. And so I trimmed off that ½ inch just to get it back to proper health. And as you can see, she has a nice, strong face frame in the front, and it just flows and feathers back. So now I section off the front half because I'm going to be doing the rainbow. And I go in and I am very tediously, I can't stress that enough, very tediously coloring the roots of this wig. So I'm making sure that I don't touch the lace or the knots. And then I go in and I'm coloring the back of the wig. So the colors that I'm using is Vivid Violet and Dusty Rose. And I'm just blending the two in between my fingers. And the way I'm getting a nice ombre is I'm doing one section lower and one section higher of the purple. So one section I'm doing like 2 inches of purple, and or 3 or 4 inches, and then the next I'm doing like 8 or 7 inches of purple. And that's gonna give a nice clean blend, and you're not gonna have a harsh line of purple to the pink. So yeah, so I'm just going in, and I got bored of doing each individual section, so I just like colored all the roots, and then I go in and create a difference of length within the purple. All right, y'all, I'm gonna stop talking here, and I'm gonna let y'all just watch this, and I will come back when we do the rainbow. All right, so we're starting with the rainbow now, and as you can see, I already did some to just have a guideline, and I'm just going in with the blue, green, yellow, red, and pink. And as I'm doing it, I'm blending it with my fingers. Please wear gloves, you guys. I forgot to buy some. I ran out, and all the stores were closed, so I was just suffering. So anywho, I also over directed it to the front, so that way when it lays back properly on the side, it's not just a crisp line of color. It has its own little moment, but it blends all together. And then I just went back in with some purple because I wanted it a little darker on the base. I felt like the purple was a little too pink. So I went back through and I put a little blue into the purple and went over the base. And here she is. This is Miss Magic after I rinsed her out. And I also put a silicone treatment on her to seal everything back down. And yeah, she's so soft. Oh my gosh, you guys. Like, look how I run my fingers through her, how she moves. She just is like a feather. So I'm just going in and plucking the hairline. So I do have a pattern and a method on the way I do it. So I do like a brick lay pattern. So I pluck the hairline, the front hairline, just slightly, not much. And then I lift that front hair back, and then I go in a brick lay. So wherever I plucked before, I'm going to leave hair, and I'm going to go off to the side and pluck that piece. And I'm just going to go all the way through until like about an inch into the hairline. And so now I'm going to go in with some Paul Mitchell hot off the press. I'm going to put that on there, and I'm going to only use a little bit of the wax stick. I don't like to use a lot because I don't like how thick and heavy it makes the front of the wig feel. So the hot off the press is going to be a good heat protectant. It also has a humidity resistant. And look at that curl. But it also has a nice humidity resistant built into it. So it's going to hold whatever you do, but it's not going to leave the hairline feeling cakey like the wax stick does. But I do go in to just reinforce and make sure that hair stays back as much as possible, but I use as little as possible. And here I'm just showing you how I curl it. So I pin the hair up, and I'm using pretty big sections because I just really want a body wave. I don't want anything too tight or too loose. But yeah, I'm just going in with that Paul Mitchell spray again and just like getting all over. I want to make sure that this hair is protected from any heat. And I get that all through, and then I comb it right on through, starting at the ends and working my way up. Don't want to tug on that hair too much and rip those tangles out because that's going to create breakage, and we don't want that. Now I'm going to go through and section off the hair, and I'm going to smooth it with the flat iron first. And I'm going to do the comb chasing method. Put that in. Then take the flat iron and bring it on down and smooth it. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to do that whole section right there. Comb it. Smooth it. Boom. So now I'm going to just go ahead and speed this up because, yeah, you get the picture. So now beginning at the start of the section, I'm going to go back and we're going to place those curls in. So what I do is comb it all through and then take the flat iron, wrap it around halfway. And then I slide it down by feeding the hair through. And it leaves me with a nice bouncy curl, which later on we're going to comb out and it's going to be a nice wave. And I'm just going to let that sit, cool off a bit in my hand. After it cools off a bit, I'm going to let it drop and move on to the next section. So I'm going to show you once again how I created it. I take a section of the hair, put the flat iron in, wrap it around about 3/4 of the way, and then pull through. Once I release, it leaves you with this nice, lovely loose curl. I'm just going to let it cool in my hand once again, and then let it drop. And then I'm going to go ahead and speed this up now. So now that I'm done with these sections, I'm going to go through and curl them around itself. And I'm going to do one half of the head, and then I'm going to do the other half of the head. This is going to help them set into shape and help them be more uniform and help them last a little bit longer. So I'm going to go ahead and do another section now. Once again, pretty big sections. Just sectioning out that top half, pin that up, and I'm going to go back through and once again smooth it. After smoothing it, I'm going to give it a curl, but be sure to put your heat protectant spray on. This is not live hair. This is not going to continue to grow, so you have to baby this hair along and protect it. I like this heat protectant spray because it's not very oily. It's not going to weigh the hair down. It also helps aid in smoothing the hair out and keeping all the hairs aligned. And like I said, it has a heat protectant or a humidity protectant built in, so that way it helps keep your curls lasting longer and you can use less hairspray in the hair. So yeah, it keeps the hair feeling like hair and you don't have to grease it up as much. So I'm going to go ahead and speed through this process and finish the wig up. So now I'm going to section out the bang piece so that way I can get a nice fly back area, some nice volume. And you see that nice little humpty hump right there. We want to keep that. And I'm going to spray the heat protectant once again. Each section you're going to spray that. And then after spraying the heat protectant, we're going to section out that bang piece. So I'm just going to take all that hair in the front, pull that forward, and clip it out of my way. I'm going to leave this for the last piece, the last section that I do. And that way I can control how I want it to fly back. Once again, go in and smooth and curl. So now that we're back to the front, I'm still doing that 3/4 turn with the flat iron, but I'm going to tilt it towards the direction that I want to go. So I'm going to show you right here. Take the flat iron, put it in the hair. You're going to bump that volume up in the front and then turn it, angle it towards the side of the head, but still doing the 3/4 turn in the flat iron. This is going to help it feather back and lay nicely within the rest of the curls, but still coming forward and getting that volume in the front. So I'm taking it and pushing it back the direction I want it. And then once again, wrapping it around one another. So that way they last and stay. So now I'm going to take a little bit of the cheese serum and I'm going to run that through all the curls to give it a nice shine and set them where I want them and break them up a bit. So this is how much I'm using, and I'm just going to rub that through like lotion all over my hands. And then I'm going to run my fingers through and break up all those curls. So just get it all the way through. If I have to, I brush them out a bit to relax some of the front ones. And then I take a little bit of Got to Be Glued spray. I don't put a lot on. What I do is spray a little bit on the hair and then spray on the comb. And then go through and comb all those little stray hairs right on down. We don't want any alfalfa looks sticking up. None of that. So we want to smooth it all down. Spray the comb once again and get all the way through the top part of the hair, because there's always some little stray pieces that like to stick up. We don't want that. We want it to look sleek in the front. And look how nicely that just falls. It's so pretty and bouncy and airy and light. Like, oh, it just moves so beautifully. And oh, look at that. Beautiful body waves. And this is how she moves. Look at her go. And here is the end result. She is so gorgeous. And you can find Miss Magic on my Etsy site, Radiant Beauty Hair Co. Be sure to follow me on all my social media so you can keep up to date with everything that's going on within my business. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that way you'll be notified every time I post. This is how I package Miss Magic to ship her to her new home. So first I put a hairnet over it, and then I take some black tissue paper and I ball it up and I stuff it into the cap of the wig, and then I put it in a plastic bag. And then I have a little goodie bag with an eyelash applicator, some eyelashes, and some cards. I place the wig in my holographic box and then place the goodie bag and the cap in there. I also take some pink ribbon and I make a cute little bow out of it. And as you can see, it's nice and fluffy and it's got some volume and some, dimension to it. It's not just one little bow. And then I wrap it up like a Tiffany's box. I'm still working on how to wrap the bow around. I can't get it quite so tight yet, but eventually we'll get there. And then I cut all the extra off. And then I write a little personalized note and I put that on the top and put it in a shipping bag, and then off she goes. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and like I said, I make custom wigs, so if you would like one made for you, reach out to me. Bye.